All right, welcome back to the First Team Fantasy Podcast. In this episode, we have all the afternoon games, the Sunday night game, and that'll be it for the recaps in this one. We're saving the Monday night one because Jalen Hurts and Geno Smith are both in jeopardy for their playing status, so we wanted to kind of hold off until we had that for sure,
hmm
exactly who's going to be the starting quarterbacks in that game. So I'm going to start it off with the 49ers heading to Arizona to play the Cardinals. The over-under is 48.5 in this one, and the Niners are favored by 11.5 points. Starting off with the Niners side of the ball, they're going up against a Cardinals defense who is giving up 139.3 yards on the ground per game. Um,
hmm
as if you were even thinking about benching Christian McCaffrey. Obviously, you're not going to in this one. It should be a great week for him. Should absolutely destroy this defense. Cardinals defense is giving up 216 yards through the air, which is 13th in the league. Still rolling Debo, still rolling Ayuk. I think still rolling Purdy, still rolling Kittle, Moody. The Niners defense is obviously more of a question mark, not due to the fact that they are good. They're obviously a good real life defense, but it's like we talk about some games they just don't get the turnovers and sacks. They just stop the opponent from scoring more points than them,
Yeah.
which is really all you need to do as a defense. But uh, the Cardinals have been scoring points as of late and moving, so might want to hang off of starting the Niners defense in this one.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's pretty obvious who we start. We don't want to stray away from that in the most important weeks. Now, moving along to the Cardinals side of the ball, we have a team that is, scoring 17.7 points per game. They've been going through their injury and so on and so forth. Like any other team has been fairly tumultuous for them. Only 172.4 passing yards per game, obviously due to the fact that Kyler Murray just started playing football again. And they are rushing the ball for 123.9 yards per game. Going up against a Niners defense that is only giving up 78.3. I
Yeah.
don't feel very comfortable with James Conner in this one. We know he's going to get good volume, but the Niners have been just great against the run. And it'll be very likely that the Cardinals will be down needing to air the ball out in this. We saw that um, Hollywood Brown is questionable, still dealing with that heel injury. So we will see if he is able to go in this one. If he is able to, I think he should be a decent start. Niners are giving up 222.1 yards through the air, which is 16th in the league. Um, Nothing that is too, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not looking at the Niners defense from a fantasy perspective and saying I don't want to start my wide receivers. Running
Yeah.
backs is a completely different story. But outside of him, it's Trey McBride. Um, Trey McBride is in fact the leading receiver on, or the leading the player with leading and receiving yards. Got kind of tongue tied on that one for God knows why, but he has 610 and is leading the Cardinals right now. So I mean, I think Trey McBride, you're into the flames with him. I don't see why not. He's been good. Like I said, the Niners aren't anything spectacular against the pass. So Trey McBride starting. Kyler Murray, I don't think it's the worst start, but
It's a risky one
it,
in the playoffs.
it is a risky one in the playoffs against the Niners defense, which while we say, yeah, they're not the toughest against the pass, as a quarterback, unless you're playing in a 6 point passing touchdown league, even if he ends with like 270 yards and a touchdown through the air, if he doesn't happen to get anything on the ground, it's not that good of a week.
Yeah.
But that'll be all for this one. I'll let you take it into your first game.
Yeah, and for fantasy purposes, it should be an interesting one. It's the Commanders at the Rams. The Rams aren't the greatest on defense, 21st against the pass, giving up basically 227 yards, and 16th against the run, giving up 113. I do like the Sam Howell start in this one. We talked about some of our not league winners, but regular season winners for fantasy leagues, and Sam Howell cracks the top 10. And he's going to air the ball out in this one. There is no Brian Robinson. It'll be Antonio Gibson with Chris Rodriguez also taking some carries, but I can imagine they don't have faith in either of those two to run the ball as often as they would with Brian Robinson. So I see Sam Howell throwing the ball a lot, and this could be a higher scoring game. It really could. And if the Commanders are playing from behind, they're going to pass the ball. Antonio Gibson, I do like his start because, again, he will get an increase in rushing attempts, and he'll still have that receiving upside. We saw when Brian Robinson isn't on the field, it's Antonio Gibson catching a lot of passes out the backfield due to volume alone in this one, and the Rams not being the most imposing defense. I do like the Antonio Gibson start, and what's weird is I like the Antonio Gibson start more than I would have liked the Brian Robinson start if Antonio Gibson was missing, just due to the receiving upside. But that's a personal opinion. The receivers. Terry McLaurin has not scored double digits in the past 4 weeks. There's been some injuries, so you may have to start him. If you can keep Terry McLaurin on your bench, I would do it. I don't know what it is. It's been, Curtis Samuel's broken double digits twice in the past 2 weeks. We've had Jahan Dotson break it 3 times in the past 5 weeks. And Terry McLaurin he's obviously the best receiver there, but the ball does get spread out. And I don't know if I want to throw him in my fantasy lineup in the playoffs and have him give me another 7-point week like he has in the past 4 weeks. Now, with that being said, it's weird to say I like the Sam Howell start, but I realistically don't trust any of the 3 receivers, or Logan Thomas for that matter, in a fantasy playoff. I don't know who the touchdowns could go to. It could be a 2-touchdown Jahan Dotson week. Logan Thomas gets in the end zone. Antonio Gibson catches one out of the backfield. I just don't know. I know they're going to throw it a lot. Everyone's going to get some catches. I just don't know who those touchdowns will shake down to, and it's been so turbulent on who does get those touchdowns. It's just tough because, Scary Terry is the only one that I would really consider starting out of the 3. But even there, I don't know. I feel like there's probably better options, but again, if you have to roll Terry, he should get the volume. He has been getting the volume even in his single-digit scoring weeks.
I mean, I'd like to think Terry is due for a good week this week. We saw the Ravens have success airing the ball out deep against the Rams last week. We saw chunk plays to Isaiah Likely and Odell Beckham. We saw Rashad Bateman get behind the D. I think if they're able to connect, Terry McLaurin should have a great week.
Yeah. And I agree with that. It's weird that they're finally passing the ball an insane amount, and he's on pace for his worst season so far, which it's just a weird outcome.
That's strange.
Yeah, the Rams are a much easier side of the ball in my opinion. Matt Stafford should be a great start. This is the worst pass defense in the NFL. The Commanders give up 266 yards a game. Matt Stafford should have a lot of success, and he's finally been throwing touchdowns, so his fantasy value has skyrocketed the past couple weeks. Their Commanders are 17th against the run, giving up 114 yards a game. Does not matter. Kyren Williams is an absolute start every single week. His production is just incredible. It's insane that Cam Akers was even thought to be the starter coming into the season. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp both are must-starts in my opinion. Again, they're the 2 leading receivers there. If you're in a best ball format for the playoffs, Demarcus Robinson's a very interesting pickup for the end of your bench because he has boomed the past couple weeks. It seems like he's kind of taken that wide receiver 3 role from Tutu Atwell. So in deeper leagues, again, best ball leagues, Demarcus Robinson is worth a pickup. Tyler Higbee, I don't care how much they pay you. I will never trust you to be in my lineup, especially in the playoffs. It's just not going to happen. But that's really it. I don't trust the Rams defense enough in this one. I know Sam Howell gets sacked at possibly historic rate, but I just
Yeah.
I'm staying away from the defenses.
Yeah. I mean, it's we've just seen this Commanders team score a lot of points on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
They have that capability. They air it out a lot. I mean, sometimes teams play a lot softer defense when they get up by multiple scores, which the Rams very well might.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Rams defense is a shaky start in this one.
Yeah.
But with that, we are going to head into our
Cowboys at Bills.
yeah. Is that
Our last Sunday afternoon.
okay? I had that written down as the Sunday night game for some reason. I realized I wrote down
No,
two
no, you're fine.
Monday night games.
You're fine.
Strangely enough, yeah. Okay, I confused myself a bit on that one. But so yeah, we have the Cowboys heading into Buffalo, which very well could end up being the game of the
Yeah.
Dallas is not favored in this one, but the over under is 49. I mean, Buffalo's favored by 2, and usually the home team gets 3, so I guess you'd say they're favored by 1, but that's just like semantics from a betting perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
Going into the Dallas offense, however, they are number 1 in the league in points per game, averaging 32.4. Currently second in pass yards per game, averaging 262.8. Which, if you want to get in on any of the sleeper action, they actually discounted Dak's passing yards to 215 for this game. So definitely something worth checking out.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't got on yet, we have our code, so on and so forth. We can help you with that. Back to the game. Cowboys are rushing for 118.6 yards per game, 11th in the league. So absolutely a top offense.
Mm-hmm.
And they are facing off against a defense who has brought themselves back to being one of the top defenses in the league. Currently only giving up 18.8 points per game, which is fifth, 207.9 yards through the air, which is 10th, and 114 yards on the ground, which is 18th. Now, we saw the Chiefs absolutely struggle against this team last week, but I'd like to believe the Cowboys have a few more effective weapons than the Chiefs do.
Yeah.
We've seen Dak on an absolute tear, possibly an MVP run. I don't think that this is a week to shy away from starting your Cowboys.
Yeah.
I think it should be a competitive game. Therefore, there should be a need to continuously you know, score the football.
Yeah.
I don't think it should get to a point where it's just lulling away or maybe this could be one where we're disappointed by the offensive performances because the defenses play so well, but I'm not using that as a reason to bench Dak Prescott, to bench CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard,
Mm-hmm.
even Brandon Cooks for that matter. I think should be a good start in this one.
Yeah.
Jake Ferguson as well, obviously. Brandon Aubrey are still rolling out there. Um, if you want to roll the Cowboys defense,
You have to.
we know,
You
yeah,
have to.
I
They're
mean,
so.
they're disruptive. They, as we talk about, they get sacks, they get interception. Josh Allen throws interceptions
Yeah.
every single game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're just running into the fire with your Cowboys.
Yeah.
They've been providing, and I think they should this week.
Yeah.
On to the Bills side of the ball. As I said, the Cowboys are a top offenses in the league. The Bills are right up there with them.
Mm-hmm.
Currently scoring 26.8 points per game, passing for 256.9 per game, and rushing for 122 per game. James
Yeah.
Cook, starting him, regardless of the Cowboys only giving up on the ground. I still think Cook is a good start.
Yeah.
He should be catching passes out of the backfield as well. Even, he's giving up snaps to Ty Chandler and Latavius Murray, but he is very clearly the most effective running back. I think he should be good.
Mm-hmm.
Stephon Diggs coming off of an awful week, still going right back to him. Cowboys are only giving up 183.9 yards through the air per game, which is really tough, but this isn't Gabe Davis we're talking about. This is Stephon Diggs. I surely expect a bounce back from him. Whereas, I mean, hey, we got the 0 out of Davis last week, so going by that standard, I guess he's startable this week. But obviously, that's rolling dice with. You have to have some stones for that one because playing Gabe Davis in the playoffs, and especially this year that he's had, it would be insane. But it's pretty much, you know, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, James Cook. I like the Kincaid start.
So do I.
Knox coming back obviously hurts him to a degree, but I still like it. But
He got 8 targets last week. So Kincaid,
yeah,
he
he's
wasn't too
still
efficient, but he's still getting his
yeah,
targets.
he's still going to be effective in this offense. I mean, I don't think they're going to move away. That works.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't know about that because James Cook works very well, and then they somehow find a reason to throw the ball to Latavius Murray.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, so that'll pretty much be it. Wouldn't start the Bills defense in this one, obviously, against the team
No.
putting up the most points in the league. And if you wanna
No.
start
Dude,
that,
he is so, I guess, yeah, he's picked it up towards the end of the season. I held on to that guy for like 7 weeks, being like, oh, he's on the Bills. And his best week was like 7 fantasy points. It's like, dude. Tyler Bress was not good to start the year. That's a bit of a
yeah.
personal qualm with him.
But yeah, that'll be it for this one. Hopefully, we get an exciting game that we're expecting out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Marching right along into the Sunday night game, which is our final one. We have my Baltimore Ravens going into Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. The over-under is 40.5 points, and the Ravens are favored by 3.5. Probably due to the fact that I don't know what the deal is with Trevor Lawrence's health. I don't know what happened
I
there,
know
how he
he's
got a
playing.
high ankle sprain. Oh, I know for a fact he's playing. I just don't understand. I mean, have you ever seen a quarterback that I mean, I'd get it if it was like Jimmy Garoppolo or something where their game does not revolve around Trevor Lawrence moves a lot. I was shocked at the fact that he played on
Even a
it
Jimmy
was
Garoppolo. I mean, did we
it
know
was a
was it
high ankle
was it his
sprain,
right
man.
ankle or
Like
left? Do we know
Lawrence,
that? Yeah,
I I don't know personally.
because obviously the right would
Like
be a lot worse.
yeah,
The plantar
I
ankle.
was gonna say I get where you're going with it, but that's what I'm
Either
saying. He
way.
moves a lot. He's a runner. He ran the ball multiple times. He had an 11-yard carry. Like
Medicine's getting crazy, man. It is getting insane.
yeah, someone posted a video of him working out before. They're like, he doesn't feel a thing, but I duly believe that. Anyways, on to the actual game. The Ravens are scoring 27.8 points per game, passing for 215.4, but running for 157.1. Now,
Hmm.
obviously, that was the reason why them passing the ball 43 times caught us a bit off guard last game.
Yeah.
Will they show up to Jacksonville and do the same thing? I don't know. Maybe the fact that the Jags are fifth in the league against the run and 31st in the league against the pass might lead to a bit of the same thing. I'm not going to expect it, but it's definitely a high possibility because the Jags are only giving up 92 yards on the ground, but 265.2 through the air. We've seen great connections out of Lamar, Zay, OBJ late, and
Yeah.
Isaiah Likely. I
Yes.
think all four of those guys are startable. Zay, Likely, and Lamar, especially so. OBJ, I mean, especially with the three huge wide receiver injuries, Tyreek Hill, Nico Collins, Chris Olave, I think OBJ is a great pivot.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not necessarily forcing him into lineups there's I wouldn't oh, should I start him over Devontae Smith or no?
No.
Like start your guys, but if you have a need or a spot to fill, I think Odell would be a good person to fill that spot.
Yeah.
As far as the running backs go, I mean, it's hard to trust Keaton Mitchell, Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, any of the three. Even though Keaton's been doing good, his efficiency's been great, but the volume has not been there. And with the way that the Ravens play, they rotate the backs out a lot. And Lamar tends to run the ball like 10 times a game. So that kind of hurts them as well.
Yeah.
If they don't happen to get into the end zone, it will not be a very productive day. So if you're not in a much deeper league, I cannot recommend starting any Ravens running back.
Yeah.
Justin Tucker's an obvious go. If you want to start the Ravens defense, I wouldn't hate you for it, but just remember that I don't know. Big plays have kind of been their weakness,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what the Jaguars thrive on. These big plays.
Yeah.
Um, that'll really be it for the Ravens side of the ball. And
The Jaguars.
take yeah,
The Ravens defense is very good, as to be fair, the Ravens have been known to have a very good defense. They're currently 4th against the pass, giving up 180 yards, 12th against the run, giving up 104 yards. I do not necessarily like the Trevor Lawrence start this week. It's something, to be fair, I said the same thing last week against the Browns, and he gave us 20 fantasy points and passed the ball more times than he has on the entire season. So it's a riskier start, but again, if you've been rolling Lawrence, especially through the lows that he's had through a large chunk of the season, if you decide to stick with him, I guess I don't hate you for that by any means. Travis Etienne, you absolutely have to start just due to his talent alone and where you drafted him. Like Schiff said, you roll your guys. Evan Ingram, you roll your guy. Calvin Ridley, without Christian Kirk, you're going to have to roll him. My last player. I genuinely think, and I'm not, again, don't force him in a lineup, but if you're a 3 receiver with the flex and these injuries hit you, just like Odell's a good option, I genuinely think Zay Jones is going to have a solid game. He's had 22 targets in the last 2 games. He hasn't been too efficient catching them, but that volume is insane. He got 8 targets and then 14 targets. There's just not many weapons. Their third wide receiver is Parker Washington, a rookie that, I mean, need I say more? It's going to be Calvin Ridley and Zay Jones out there. Again, I'm not forcing him in a lineup, but he should be available on the waiver in a lot of leagues. So if that's a pivot you have to make, like, I would rather start Zay Jones than like Gabe Davis, because Gabe Davis, I have put him in my lineup and has just zeroed me out. If Gabe Davis goes for 20 this week, sure, do it on my bench, because if you gave me 0 in a playoff game, there's just no coming back from that.
Yeah.
So, but that's all I really had. We're through the Sunday games.
We are through the Sunday games. And as we said, we will be back once again tomorrow. So we'll see how all these games go today. We will Jalen Hurts, Geno Smith end up playing. We'll get back to you with all that information. So hopefully fantasy playoffs start well for all of you guys. Like we said, we are always available for questions, comments, whatever you may need. Thank you once again for all the support, and we will be back next time with you. Come back, take more reps with the first team.
Sir.